Here we go. What up, everybody? You're now tuned into the true definition of a sports fanatic. I'm your host, Brandon Lampley, back again today with another live stream. Had some technical difficulties. It's on my end though. I know exactly what it is. I got my computer, and I'm done with it. I got to do some maintenance on it. So it's all good. It's all good. But
Yes,
man, we
sir.
back in here today, man. Mr. Reid, how you feeling today?
Hey, I'm in training camp mode, man. But it's been good since the pads came on.
Oh man, yeah. Yeah, man, I'm excited. I know that the Cowboys and the Steelers are playing right now, but I got a boss who's a Cowboys fan, and he's like, "Don't forget, you got to watch America's team tonight." And I was like, "Come on, man, y'all ain't did nothing in 30 years.
Yeah.
I don't want to hear it, man. I don't want to hear it. Let's go. What's going on, man? What's going on?"
Hey, what's happening, man? Yeah,
So let's not bury the lead. Let's not bury the lead. Got to start off with my man, and he had a bad day. They said he had a bad day. Trevor Lawrence had a bad day. They say he bounced back, and he's looked as advertised as the pass came on. Brian Baldinger was at training camp, and they said, he's going to be here for a long time.
yeah. Said the same thing I've been saying for the last. Where's the guy that said that? What's his name?
Oh, George Webb. Oh yeah, George
Yeah,
Webb talking that trash. He
yeah.
probably
What is
working
it?
tonight.
Oh, he's
He
working.
probably he probably working tonight. Don't worry, I'm gonna tell him to tune in to the stream.
Yeah, well, tell him that don't pull it out. All rookies have bad practices, but the
Yeah,
what makes a good rookie is when he come back the next day and performs like he's supposed to, which he did. And I
yeah.
say that the pass that he threw to Marvin Jones in double
Mm-hmm.
coverage may have been one of the best on their practice field. It is the best that I've seen on the Jaguars practice field on how he threw that pass in double coverage. He threw a bullet, a laser, whatever you want to, what adjective describes fast. That's what happened,
Yeah.
and it was right on the mark. Another one of those bullet passes where the wide receiver don't break stride, ball just come in, and it's just like on target, a liner. It was like a
Mm-hmm.
liner pass, and just went in there for a touchdown, man. And that was the day after he had that miserable day. But I mean, back to his bad day. The Jaguars cornerbacks, they wasn't allowed to do press coverage, but they were allowed to do it Monday, the day before they went into full pass.
Yeah.
And I just thought that, boy, they showed him some disguises and some different type of coverages that he wasn't used to, and he tried to
Mm-hmm.
force in some passes that, man, when you got DJ Daniel like picking you off, it ain't your day.
No, it's not your day. It's definitely not your day.
But hey, man, it happens, man. It's a lot being thrown at him. He had some problems on checks at the line of scrimmage a little bit. What Bevel said, the offensive coordinator, but they just throwing a lot at him, and he just had one of those days where he had zip on the ball, but he was forcing in passes that you know couldn't hit the mark, so to speak. But you know, I mean, that's nothing to be. I mean, I think he's gonna have a couple of more practices like that. But
Yeah.
it is what it is. It's better to have that type of performance at practice first
Yeah.
week of August than go into September the 13th for the opener and have a bad performance. Which it's
Yeah.
good to have those now. I mean, I really feel that they really throwing a lot at them. Not so much on. I think all the offense is installed, but just you know, he's got to call everything. One thing that college quarterbacks have to adjust to, believe it or not. In college they don't have the headphones. I mean, they don't have headphones in there where they getting the
Oh yeah. The
plays
mic. Yeah.
from the mic. So he's got to take what's being said to him from the offensive coordinator on the play call, and then he's got to identify the call to to how the defense is lined up. Then he's got to call an offensive call. You know, he got to call an offensive line call for the checks.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, they throwing a lot at him, and you know, I mean, I still feel talent wise, there's there's no questions no more. That's why I want I hope your friend come back on here because there's no question right now who's the number one quarterback. I think that was solved like Monday. He's taking all the first team reps, and Garner Minshew is taking second team reps. So all that is out the window. If Garner Minshew want to be in Jacksonville, he'll have to be the number 2 quarterback if he's going to accept that role. I don't think they'll trade him to Indianapolis with their situation right now with their quarterback situation. But he's the number 2 guy. There's no, you know, all that stuff he said on the podcast and all that. You know, in reality, Trevor won that job. If it was competition, it took him 3 days to win that job outright.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I had but I was talking with earlier, and he was like, "Oh man, it may not be easy for Trevor Lawrence. Better watch out for Gardner Minshew." And I said, "Dude, that competition is over." I said that competition was over when the Jets won. That's when the competition was over, man. So let's be for real. Like this kid, the talent wise, yeah, Jacksonville has never had a quarterback like this. Period. Yeah. He's never had a quarterback like this. We never had a Peyton Manning-esque Andrew Luck type of talent come through here. I mean, that's what it is. We've had some good guys. Mark Brunell was a great quarterback. Yeah. David Garrard had his moments. You know, I think Byron could have been better than people give him credit for. I mean, we didn't have a great line when Byron was here. Like you had give Byron a great line, that long wind up. You know, he would have been a lot better. You know, in my opinion. But you know, and we ain't even gonna get into Blaine Gabbert and Blake Bortles and all that. It's what it is.
But you know what, Brandon? Two things that really stand out about Trevor Lawrence. At 6'6", I mean, he can. I mean, I think a lot of times tall quarterbacks like that don't. They just I don't know. They just don't get a lot of attention for what advantages that is to be that tall and can look down the field and spot receivers and watch as the play develop. And the second thing that stands out about him is I think he's a lot mobile than what people projected him to be. And I think that's going to be very beneficial, you know, especially if they have some problems on the offensive line, because he can utilize his mobility to actually get enough space to make the throw, but just get enough space. If he has a run, he's got the speed to you know, he can turn a busted play into a 6-yard gain, but he can also use his height and his athleticism to create plays, which he's done numerous times in practice, where he can roll out, didn't see anybody open, bide himself some time, and then at that split second, he found like La Vista on a slant route, you know.
Yeah.
But I think defense is gonna have to they're gonna have to respect his mobility, man, because I think he can create a lot of plays by his feet, you know, by his legs, which is a good thing.
Oh yeah, let's go say Leftwich had a cannon for arm. Yeah, Leftwich, man, ridiculous. He said he needed that bad practice to help his growth. Yeah, it's going to help him grow. It's going to help him adjust. But as far as Trevor Lawrence and his mobility, look no further than the Ohio State game when he had that, I think, 50-something yard run, man. Man, that's the one play of Trevor Lawrence's Clemson career that I've watched over and over and over again, because it's amazing. Like, you know, him making the safety miss, got a linebacker chasing him. They can't catch him, man. Yeah. You know, so I think so too. I think that's going to aid him early. You're going to see him run a little more than he probably has at Clemson, especially early on. Yeah. You know, they're going to of course tell him to be careful, Because at Clemson, I don't know if you remember, but I can't remember if it was his third or fourth game, and I can't remember who they were playing. I don't know if it was North Carolina State, Syracuse, or somebody. He got knocked out the game because he was running and he trying to put shoulders down and stuff, and he got laid out. So, young fella, get out of bounds, please. Please don't. I don't need you putting your shoulder down. That's not your game. Travis Etienne and James Robinson both got four good shoulders between them. That's their job. Get out of bounds, please. Get out of bounds.
Yeah, don't need to take unnecessary risk. And I would only advise, like, if you had to scramble, just kind of utilize that to make, if something develops. If it don't develop, then just throw it out of bounds, man. You don't have to play hero. I mean, too much riding on this quarterback to play the hero ball. But he does have that ability. But you definitely got to be smart because they're gonna be, like I've said on your show before. Urban Meyer has a bullseye, and definitely Trevor Lawrence got a bullseye. So you're the number one overall pick. That's going to be something that every opposing defense that they play, he's going to be the mark man for them to stop. So, that's the one thing that we can't have is this kid get hurt early season unnecessarily. I mean, I say scrambling and getting hurt that way is like an unnecessary injury, in my opinion. But, it's football. It happens. But I just rather see him just make the big play using his arm than his feet, So we'll see.
Oh yeah, definitely. So now it seems to me that offensively we're going to be able to score points. I mean, we got a host of wide receivers. They say James Robinson has looked great this training camp. Of course, Laviska Shenault, Marvin Jones, DJ Chark all look good. The line looks pretty good. They say Walker Little has really impressed me. You talked about it earlier. They say he went 3-0-1 against, I think, Caleb Chason, and I mean, just dummied him up.
Yeah. It was no contest. And let me just describe that. I mean, Walker Little. I mean, he's 6'7", 325. He looks like he's bigger than 325. And, one thing that Urban Meyer just kind of rattled off real quick, he's only got 20% body fat. He's under 20% body fat. And the most impressive thing about him, I mean, the reason why Caleb Chason had problems is because the kid got quick feet. I mean, he can recover in time that even if Chason does a spin move, this Walker Little has enough quickness, feet movement, that foot technique that he can balance himself to stay in front of him, and a lot of guys coming out of college, they don't have that type of coordination, man. So this kid is a special talent, man. He's very strong. He's technique sound, and physically he's there. He stood Chason up 3 to 4 times they went at each other yesterday. And it's like whatever counter move Chason had, it got countered. Then 2 days prior to that, basically I haven't seen Chason go after anybody else. He's always picking Walker Little. But on Monday, the day before the pads, man, we looked around and Chason got not slung down like a rag doll once. He got slung down like a rag doll twice. He just came and just wrapped him and just tossed him like he wasn't even standing there. And it just is his strength. I mean, I'll say this, man. I mean, Cam Robinson is a talented guy. You never can take away 5 years of experience. But the bottom line is this, with that amount of years in the league, technique-wise, he's not going to change. So what he is what he is. And what's the problem with Cam is that he just his tech is. He can't get back in his stance quick enough. So like Josh Allen took advantage of him on Tuesday when he swung out wide and just came all the way around him to get to the quarterback. And like he couldn't turn quick enough to get in front of Josh, you know. And I've seen that problem for the last three years. I mean, it's just his foot technique is off. You know, sometimes he look good, but then he goes right back to the same mistake. And you know, as far as his run blocking, there's no problem. But technique wise, this kid, hadn't even played his first preseason game, is ahead of Cam Robinson in technique, as far as foot technique, which is, that's almost like an indictment for Cam. But I just don't think they can. I think this kid is too talented that they got to find a way to get him on the field. I mean, I don't think he's going to get any worse. I think he's going to continue to make progress. And he's putting the pressure on Cam Robinson. And another thing, Jawan Taylor looks a lot better than he did last year at this same time. I mean, he's basically almost won all of his pass rush matchup. His feet look good, power, and he's not allowing, even Josh Allen, he's not being beat consistently by anybody, which is a good thing. I saw a kid like Ben Barch. I think he's still a developing guy. I don't think he's ready yet. Yeah. And I tell you what, I looked at Robinson Harris. He really made Brandon Linder look bad a couple of times. So some of those free agents that they've signed, is particularly Robinson Harris. I mean, I think those guys are going to step in and definitely help that defensive line. Malcolm Brown, I mean, he's physical, but he doesn't need to be a straight pass rush. He just got to feel the lane, because he's going to be taking that nose. He's going to be taking a double team at that nose tackle position. But as far as physical strength, he's there. But I tell you what, even for Malcolm Brown, I think, to me, Devon Hamilton looks to me to be one of the best guys after the first 2 days in pads. I mean,
heard good things about him.
He basically hadn't lost a one-on-one individual matchup in the pass rush drills in 2 days, and he not going up against like Ben Barch and Shapley and people like that. He's going up against Linder. He's beating Linder. He's beating Kane, and he's beating Andrew Norwell consistently. And it's just that he's big, he's strong, and he can. I mean, I don't think he's doing a whole lot of technique moves to get around those guys, but he's physically beating them, and he's quick off the ball, which is a good thing. So they're thinking about Malcolm Brown at that nose tackle spot. Devon Hamilton might have something to say about that, but I think they're going to do a lot of alternating, switching guys out and everything. Another thing, Josh Allen looked good. He don't look like the Josh Allen. He look like he's fully healthy. He looked like the Josh Allen of the rookie year, real quick, coming up with more moves than just, sliding inside, trying to use the speed to go around. He's doing a lot of hooks. He's spinning, and he just on Tuesday he beat Cam Robinson so bad to the punch that it was just a race to the finish line, and he was waiting on Cam like turn around to see where he was at. Cam couldn't get to the point of attack quick enough, and if Josh continue to play like that, man, come up with, I don't know how different it's going to be playing outside linebacker, where he can actually, take advantage of his athleticism, where he doesn't have to go straight head to head against a offensive tackle. But, for so far, so good, man. He looked like he's playing with a chip on his shoulder.
Okay. Yeah, I heard Urban Meyer speak glowingly of Devon Hamilton. Of course, he recruited him out of high school,
Yeah, he
and that's
did.
one of the I think the underrated aspects of Urban Meyer is that he has a leg up on scouts because he's been scouting a lot of these kids since they were probably in some of them in middle school.
Yeah. Yeah.
So the current crop, the next couple of years, the crop coming out, he's all of the top guys. I'm sure he knows about him. He has a book on him. So I think that he's going to have an advantage there. Also, Walker Little, I didn't know he was the number one prospect coming out
Yeah.
of high school the year he
Yeah.
came out, and the only reason we got him where he got him because injuries.
Yeah.
Injuries. He pretty much stayed hurt, and they say he's got to a point where I don't think they say it's going to be much of a concern going forward. They say he's pretty much he's fully healthy now.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's I'm waiting to see now. What about these linebackers, man? Because we already know Miles Jack is a lock, but
Yeah.
what's going on with the linebackers?
Well, I'll tell you this, man, and we're probably going to be hearing more about this. Joe Schubert,
Mm-hmm.
he's going to have a tough time keeping his job from Damian Wilson. I mean,
Mm,
Damian is just physical. He knows how to play that middle linebacker position. He's always at the right spot to make plays, and he literally just. I mean, I saw a hit that he put on that was Carlos Hyde and lifted
mm,
him just right off the ground, man. And he just I don't know. I mean, I think Joe Schobert, he has the ability to be a good pass rusher. I don't think he's a physical enough linebacker in a 3-4 set.
yeah,
And Damien he looks the part, he's physical, he can take on the block, still get to the running back, and that's probably what they're going to need. Now, I'm hearing that they're talking about playing Schobert, Wilson, and then putting Jack on the outside on some of the, not like in the base package, but there's a package that they've been working
yeah,
on that has that alignment where Jack go on the outside and those two guys are the inside linebackers.
yeah,
But I say this just like I say about Walker Little. You talking about Damian Wilson, a guy that played on Kansas City Super Bowl team. He's a veteran. He knows what he's doing. He looks like a middle linebacker. And you got to find a way, particularly for this defense, that you got to stop the run. You got to find a way to get him on the field, you know.
mm-hmm.
And I wouldn't be shocked if they go into third down or something like that. Then you see Schobert out there, so he can cover a linebacker or a running back in pass coverage. But I don't know, man. I think Damian Wilson, he looked like he might be a 3-down linebacker to me because he's good, and those coaches have been recognizing it. Urban said something good about him yesterday, and I think he's too good to talk about being a backup on this defense. So they got to find a way to get him on the field. And
Yeah,
Miles Jack is Miles. One thing that also stands out to me about the linebackers, you know, I don't know if Quincy Williams is going to have a spot on this football team. I'm seeing a lot more Shaq Quarterman than I did last year. He's getting a lot of more reps, getting a lot more attention than he did last year. I
mm-hmm.
think he's still finding his way in this defense, but from a physicality standpoint, he's way ahead of Quincy Williams. And
Yeah,
I think that a guy like Dakota Allen is probably going to be one of the odd men out, and I think it's going to be tough for Quincy Williams to make the team. I don't think they have a spot on this roster for him to be at. I don't think he's going to be able to make this roster by special teams alone. And I really think they feel that Shaq Quarterman can help them. I don't think he's going to sit like last season and play primarily special teams, because he's definitely getting a lot more work than what he received last year. And he's showing some skill. He's physical, and he can get off blocks very well. And he can. One thing I noticed about him is, even though he's playing middle linebacker, his outside pursuit, he's quick to get outside to cover that running back coming around the edge, which is a good thing.
Yeah.
So I really feel they got solid. I think they got solid players at that linebacker position. And it's always good. A lot of people don't realize everybody. A lot of people just feel that you have to concentrate so much on your starters, but when you have defense and you have competition, and you got two guys that's real good that's playing the same position on defense, they'll find a way to get both those guys integrated into the defense. That they get a great, they get a good amount of. They'll split the snaps, or they'll find a way to get them on the field at the same time. But I think their linebackers group is, I wouldn't say solid, but I don't think they're going to have the issue at linebacker. I think the issue on defense would be, the depth situation on the defensive line. Do they have enough depth?
Yeah. Okay. So, speaking of depth, looks like we have a new Marquise Lee on the roster by the name of C.J. Henderson. When the head coach says that he hasn't seen you, and basically talk about hey, I've heard about him. I've heard he's a good player, but I haven't seen him. That is not a good thing for C.J. Henderson. And they took a picture of him and they put it on Twitter, and they saying that this is his first day back at practice, and he looked so we talked about it. He looked so lethargic. He looked like he didn't want to be there. Just in the photo, and it's been ever since after the first game, after the Colts game. It's just he's been a different player since that game, and I don't know, man.
Well, I don't know either. But Brandon, I don't sugarcoat on your show, buddy. But this guy, I don't know what it is, but if you base on body language, if you based on how he's looked out there on the practice field for 2 days, he doesn't seem like either he doesn't seem like he loves the game. It just seems like he's going through the motions. Like he's not, I've never seen any coach. I mean, it's almost, I can go back 20 years. I've never seen any coach put the stationary bike about 6 yards from the field. And when the defense was working, going through drills, they basically was running toward him while he's on the exercise bike. Now, I used to cover boxing, and boxing trainers that do a whole lot of things to get what they can get out of their boxer. Mm-hmm. And it seems like Urban Meyer is really done went in his bag of tricks and say, what in the hell I'm gonna do to light a fire in this guy? Because if I can't do it, I want to get somebody on this team to light a fire in this guy. Because if those players out there in 90-degree heat and they running sprints and they doing all that training camp work, and they got a number 9 overall pick who basically they hadn't seen since, the ones that was here last year hadn't seen them since November.
Yeah.
And it's just like, I really feel just like you said, I think Urban Meyer has called them out and basically said, hey, look, man, I know you done had COVID. I know you done had labrum surgery. I know you done had growing problems, but we got to see something from you. We can't we can't go forth trying to get the defense right if we got the number 9 overall pick, and basically Urban said, I don't know what I got. I don't know I don't know how good he is. He looks good on paper, but I don't know. I haven't seen anything from him, so I can't tell you where he fits in. Can he help us? How good is he? I don't know. I haven't seen anything. And if that doesn't light a fire in a guy, and I said this to you earlier today, I covered a lot of guys down in South Florida, man, in that Miami area. That I feel that their high school football probably in the state of Florida is probably one of the best, if not the best. And a lot of those guys down there, man, because of what they done had to overcome, or just the competition level is so tough, they go back to Pop Warner, and in Miami, you have to play good.
Yes.
This is a real show, so we're gonna discuss real things. So even in Pop Warner, they bet on Pop Warner games down there.
Yeah. Shoot, I've been down south. Me and my little brother played. We've been down south to play against those teams. And dude, it's a different atmosphere when you go to South Florida, or when the South Florida team comes to your city. It is. And those guys are cut from a different cloth. CJ Henderson doesn't seem to be a part of that group.
Nah, I think CJ spent a lot of time in, I don't know, I don't want to dish private and public schools, but he don't seem like he got that dog in him. And I said this earlier, man, you got to have the dog to play that position. When
you got to be a dog.
Receivers look at, like, if a receiver would have saw CJ yesterday, he would have came back to the huddle and said, man, I got this guy head, man. He ain't into it. Throw me the ball, And if you ain't, a lot of people used to criticize Jalen Ramsey because he said
Jalen was a dog, though.
Talked this, he did this, but when he was on the field, if he didn't get the receiver right, he would talk trash to Allen Robinson. It didn't matter who it was.
Didn't matter.
It didn't matter if it was 97 degrees and it was no humidity or what. If it was freezing cold, he still talked trash, and they respected him. Well, I'm saying CJ Henderson is on notice, man. He's got to turn this around, because if not, I think once you fall out of favor with Urban Meyer and he lose confidence in you, he's not going to put him on the field. So this week when he comes back, I think he might be back Sunday. I don't know even if he come back Sunday, he wouldn't be in the scrimmage, but it looks like he would probably be back early next week at the latest. And from that point that he returned, he got to start playing like a 9th overall pick, because if not, I don't think they'll cut a 9th overall pick, but they will definitely trade him.
Oh yeah. Troy Davis was popping, man. Troy Davis, he going ham in the chat. He said at this point, Little is a better option than Cam. And I thought we talked about that, Troy, and he is. That's what Mr. Reid said. His technique, footwork, all it's better than Cam right now. The only thing he don't have on Cam is Cam got 5 years experience.
Yeah, that's it. That's the only thing that's keeping Cam as a starter.
He said, Henderson is being a disappointment. He say, but Urban's comments should make him realize he's either going to give 100% or get gone.
That's and just what Troy said, disappointment. When you a top 10 pick, if somebody label you as a disappointment, then it's supposed to like ring a bell. It's supposed to like, if you ain't got no motivation, if you just got self-pride, if somebody labeling you already as basically a bust, then it's time to, hey, if you can't motivate yourself, then you don't belong in the NFL, man. Because once you get a label, believe me, once you get a label in the NFL, it's hard to get rid of that label. That's what if you look, if Tampa Bay didn't win that Super Bowl, Mr. Running Back in Jacksonville would have had a hard time losing that label if they hadn't won that Super Bowl.
Yeah.
And I guess the bottom line is this: CJ gotta, whatever his issue is, he gotta get it together, man. Because even if he was to leave Jacksonville, it ain't going nowhere. He will, unless he have a 10 interception season, he's going to be considered a bust. He's got to play, just play, put it at ease, play like you did at Florida to get you where you're at with the 9th overall pick. But he got to start producing, man, and stop making excuses. He doesn't have to say, I'm making excuses, but it's like, man, you got to show talent. You got to show your talent to this coaching staff. They don't know him. That's another thing. All the past people who put him in Jacksonville, they're gone.
Yeah, they're gone.
The slate is clean now. Trent Baalke and Urban Meyer, they're not going to. It's not going to be their mistake. They didn't draft them 9th overall, so it's like, hey, if this kid don't want to be in Jacksonville, then we gotta cut our losses and get somebody else in here that can help us. Maybe we can use that trade and get a receiver or something, or something that we need, because they, from what I've seen already, if they got rid of CJ, it's not going to be devastating to the season. Believe me.
Hey, trade in the field and give us Zach Ertz. How about that?
Yeah, go get a tight end. Exactly.
Yeah. See, Troy Davis say, I want to know y'all thoughts on the running back situation. Well, we got 2 great backs.
Yeah.
From what I'm hearing so far, man. ETN, speed, man. The speed. That's what I keep hearing about that kid is speed. They say James Robinson is even faster this year. He did make it a point after the season. He said that I want to work on my speed. And so far, they say it's shown that he's worked on his speed.
Well, I say this. We made a note of that, and I wrote it down. James Robinson is working with the 1s. Travis Etienne is working with the 2s. Mm-hmm. Robinson came to camp, great shape. Can't say nothing bad that I've seen from him since camp started last month on the 27th. He's done everything. He's done everything, in my opinion, that could be asked of him. Mm-hmm. But there's a difference. And that difference is Travis got the speed, man.
Yeah.
They did a toss sweep with Cam Robinson as the lead blocker. And he got around the edge. There was nobody in sight. When he turned on the Jets, there was no linebacker near Etienne. Mm-hmm. And I just see a guy that's got big playability, man. And that's the difference between James Robinson and Travis. Travis got the speed advantage. And it just looked like even when they just doing 11 on 11, and they just, mm-hmm. It just seemed like if they're in a real game against his defense, he can break 2 touchdowns. He can break a 40-yard run just like a snap of a finger. He's just got that ability. If you get him in open space, which they're going to do, on a screen pass in the flat, he can take a 5-yard pass from Lawrence in the flat on the screen pass and turn it into a 60-yard run.
Yeah,
James is good, but he doesn't have that breakaway speed mm-hmm. where he can just go from. You look at I look at Etienne sometimes and like, man, he can just turn it from. He can go from 0 to 20 in about a second.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Oh yeah. Now I was talking to my brother and I said, "Yo, they say ETN is fast, man. He's blazing." He say, "Man, you for real? He's like that?" I say, dude, think about it. And think about all the Clemson games we done seen, because, we Bama fans, so we done watched them play a few times. I say, but think about all the times you done seen him play. We watch his highlights and we watch his games. He's never been caught from behind.
Yeah,
I haven't seen it. If it is there, I haven't seen it. Somebody send it to me. I haven't seen it. He's never been caught from behind. When he gets in the open field, it's bye-bye.
You know who he looked like? He looked like, if you go back to the USC games and watch Reggie Bush not the Reggie Bush of the NFL, the Reggie Bush of his last year at USC. That's what he looks like. I mean, especially when he's swinging passes out of the backfield, and he's a bigger version of him. So
yeah. Oh yeah, solid, man. Say Troy said, "I'll be at opening day, Brandon. Would love to shake your hand." Man, you want to shake my hand? Oh man, yeah, man. Hey, if I get to opening day, I don't know if I'm going to opening day, but I will be at the scrimmage Sunday though. So if you're at the scrimmage though, yeah, come holler at me if you're at the scrimmage.
And I'll say this, man. This is the time. I've never said this since I've been here, but I think this is a time for fans to have a reason to get excited about this team, man. I would never say that if I didn't believe it. But I think offensively, if you look at the talent that they got at wide receiver, running back, we ain't gonna talk about tight end, and we're not gonna talk about that left tackle spot.
Yeah.
But they got legitimate talent at the skill positions, which is big, and you got a quarterback can get the ball there. That alone, it gets you wins in this league, And I don't think they're going to be as bad defensively as being projected. I think that the linebackers are solid. Definitely the secondary. I mean, I've seen Shaq Griffin look like, he's making it difficult for those receivers, and he's looking good. Yeah. And I think that if they can just hold teams and they can get a decent pass rush and stop the run, I think they could put themselves in position to win games, maybe win 7 games, maybe win 8 games. I don't know if they get more than 8.
That's what Troy just asked. He said, "What's the over under on wins?" He said, "I put a bet in Vegas at 7, and I am a Jag, so I picked the over."
Yep. I would say they talent wise, and you look at the coaching staff. The coaching staff is not going to beat themselves, man. Like the previous coaching staff would beat. I mean, they'd be in a game and then they just make bonehead decisions to lose the game.
Yep.
Got out coached. I think with this group, I don't think. I think those days are over. If they get beat this year, they're gonna get beat by a better team, but they're not gonna beat themselves, And I also think with the offensive firepower they got, especially at that receiver spot, and you got at the end, and you got skill position players that can get you in the end zone. I think they can. I think they can be in games, even against good teams, So. And I never said, I knew they were going to be bad last year.
Yeah.
It's just that the remarkable thing was, it was just shocking that the Jaguars just didn't come out and say that we rebuilding, but they're not rebuilding. This team is good. They did a great job in free agency to plug in the pieces where they needed. That's the one thing. Urban Meyer is a great talent evaluator.
Yes, he is.
He can identify talent, and he can identify when if you look at this team physically in practice, it's almost like night and day from last year. And if you look at their injury reports, they don't have soft tissue injuries no more. They don't have guys who, you look up and he's, man, what happened to him? And he's out for 2 weeks. They do have C.J. Henderson's situation, but their main guys physically, they're at a different level from even back in that 217 team. That physically they're in a situation right now that they can go out and play 4 quarters if they play the game today,
Yeah.
And then that's a credit to Urban, and I think that he's maximized. And another thing I wrote for tomorrow, I think that the biggest thing I see in Urban Meyer is that he knows how to motivate players, man.
Yeah.
When they have winning and loser day, I've never seen that in my life with the head coach right down in the middle of the pass rush drills, and he almost got knocked over one time. And he's telling guys, we're not supposed to repeat what he says in the meeting, but I'll repeat this. He gathered those guys up right before the start of they went through the exercise phase, and then they go into 7-on-7 work. So in between those drills, he huddled those guys up, and he told them, he said, "Look, I'm giving you guys just about everything. You don't have to go to no personal trainers. You don't have to go to get this. Everything is here for you. And when you come back here 5 years from now, we want you to come back here and tell, if you bring a cousin, if you see a worker inside the building, we want you to come back here 5 years and say that you was one of the pieces who was the person who was part of this turnaround.
Mm-hmm.
That you had something to do with where we started and where we at 5 years from now."
Yeah.
And you have to play like it matters all the time. You got to play like, nobody respects you. Nobody care about your Jaguar emblem. Nobody cares. Everybody in the country see you as a loser. And that's what he said.
Yeah. Pretty much, yeah.
Yeah.
That's what this, when you see this right here, this is attached to losing. You go and put an L right on there. Put an L right on there. That's what it's been. And man, that fired me up just now, hearing the coach say something like that. I mean, absolutely, you will want to be a part of the turnaround,
Yeah, to be part of something special, man. But this kid, he knows how to. He's just a good coach, man. What's this kid? They just signed number 7. What is number 7 name? He's a wide receiver, man. Taven Smith. So Taven Smith comes on the field for the first time, and he's walking. Everybody else running on the field. When you come immediately, when you step on the field, everybody runs. They just runs.
No walking on the field.
Yeah. And he said, "Hey," he ain't even call him by his name. He said, "Hey, we don't do no walking on this field."
Yeah. We've had no walking rules everywhere I've been. When I coached at Terry Park, I coached at Sandalwood, I was at Ed White, and I was there. I played for a year, and no walking on the field. At Ed White, though, if somebody see you walking, they can go knock you out if they wanted to. As I noticed once I got into coaching, I was like, that rule was gone, because I know that started a lot of fights and a lot of issues. But back in the day, you walking on the field, you could have a senior I was on JV. You could have a senior. He see you walking, he will come and lay you out. He said, "No walking on my field." After he knock you out too. And I'm like, yeah, no walking on the field, man. No.
Yeah, part of the culture, man. You have to develop a culture.
You say sorry for all the questions, but love hearing other people's opinions. Hey, man. Hey, that's what the chat's for, man. Spam it up.
Fire away.
He said, come on, man. I got to ask about my Tebow. Does he make the 53? Oh, Troy. See, I liked you, Troy. I liked you. Now you got to bring up Tebow. Hey, it's fine. You bring up Tebow. Just don't bring up Taven Bryant. We'll be good.
Yeah,
as long as you bring up Taven Bryant.
Because he probably be out of town. We'll talk about it when he's shipped out of town.
Shipped out of town?
Yeah.
No problem, Troy.
But let me say something about Tebow, man. Tebow has looked different since the last 2 days in pads. Tebow was catching everything in helmets and shorts. Now that the pads are on, he can't get separation. And they had winning and losing day yesterday. So he was matched up against Manhurst on special teams, like they blocking on the special teams on the punt return. I guess there was a punt return or something. And the next thing I saw, man, Manhurst like drove him to the ground. I mean, it was like, man, looked like Tebow didn't even know what hit him. So Tebow has not had a good. He's not had a good 2 days in practice, man. I mean, I just think that right now he's still learning the position. I still think that I think he's going to be on the practice squad. I think he's going to get cut and then he's going to get invited to the practice squad. I just don't see where he can move ahead of the guys that's ahead of him right now,
Yeah. Say somebody Taven, sorry he trash. Yeah, man. He say Tebow's leadership ability. Yeah, hey Troy, and he can lead from the bench. You're right. Yeah. He can lead from the bench. They say that's why Shannon Sharp, he's so silly. He's talking about well, just making the team chaplain then. How about that? Making the team chaplain. He can do the team prayers before the games and after the games, man.
But he's a hard worker, y'all.
He's a hard worker.
Y'all can't rein in on Tebow. The man is a Heisman Trophy winner.
Yeah.
And he's like, they got 90 players on the roster. He's like 86 right now.
Yeah.
He's not asking for special. He's not asking for special privileges, and Urban Meyer is not giving them special privileges. And actually, I think Urban might have hurt his confidence. But Urban said that the one thing that Tebow doesn't do, I mean, when they got the position drills, he catch the ball great. But when they go in the 7-on-7 and 11-on-11 drills against the defense, he catches the ball with his body. He don't extend his hands. And he hadn't had too many he hadn't had too many catches since Urban said that statement. So I just think he's learning the position, man. And I think all the Tebow lovers in Jacksonville, you just got to be patient, man. I think if he would have played tight end his whole life and played that position in the NFL, it'd be a totally different story. But it's almost like he's like a player who basically hadn't played football. He's 6 years in. And he hadn't played football in 6 years since high school. That's what kind of transition this is for Tebow, Yeah. And he's going with his He's got athleticism. He's got heart. He's a hard worker. But man, when you're trying to win and lose, when you're trying to win and not lose,
you
gotta put 53 players on that roster that's capable of helping you win every game, So he's got a lot to go.
You say Jags need any kind of spotlight is all I'm saying. Yeah, don't worry. Trevor Lawrence, Sunshine is going to bring all the rays to us. And this is just in. Tim Tebow is suffering from alligator arms, is what you're telling me. That's what he's suffering from. He's suffering from alligator arms. Because I already know why he doesn't want to extend his arms on the catches when they go to 7-on-7. Because, dude, extending your arms, catching the ball, and knowing that somebody's coming to hit you. That right there, that'll make anybody catch with the body like this.
Hey, man.
Oh, yeah.
If I'm standing in the middle and Damian Wilson coming right at me, I'm going to catch it with my body, too. That guy hit hard enough to hurt you. So I can understand.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, man. So now I think we covered Jaguars training camp. Now let's get into these NFL Hall of Fame predictions. So we're gonna go a little faster because we almost an hour in already. So, but these other topics it's not much. We ain't gonna go into like the Jaguars training camp. We had to go get that in. But this NFL Hall of Fame predictions. Let's see what Troy said. He said, now I seen him run over some people. Yeah, of course he's run over some people. Yeah. If he get an opportunity, if he gets an opportunity, he's going to run over more people. Yeah, but he's got to get on the field. He's got to have the coaches got to have confidence in him to get on the field. He said, my neighbor was the late and great Geno Hayes, and he ran him over. He did run over Geno Hayes. Rest in peace of Geno Hayes, man. Yeah, but he did. He ran over Geno Hayes. I remember that. Let's see. So the NFL Hall of Fame predictors. They've been talking about who's going into the Hall of Fame. And they got my whole thing is let's not bury the lead. They got Steve Smith going in over Torrey Holt. And I don't see that happening, man. I don't understand that one. Steve Smith was a great wide receiver. Don't get me wrong, great wide receiver, but he should not go in over Torrey Holt. Steve Smith is not a first ballot type of Hall of type of wide receiver, which I don't think. I think this is his first time. Yeah. No, if T.O. had to wait 2 years, Steve Smith need to wait 2 years. I mean, I understand it's different. I know they let Megatron in, which I knew they were going to Calvin Johnson. They weren't going to hold him out. I knew that. But Steve Smith shouldn't go in over Torrey Holt. Torrey Holt should have been in number one. Let's get that out the way right there. But he definitely shouldn't go in over Steve Smith. What you think about that?
Well, maybe Terry Holt needs to need to be on the NFL Network.
Mm-hmm. Maybe so.
It look like everybody on the NFL Network get in the Hall of Fame.
Yeah, it's crazy, man.
But no, Terry Holt, man, was a beast. Steve Smith was good, but I don't think he should go ahead of Terry Holt at all. Mm-hmm. You know, and I'm almost to the point, man. Maybe we need to have a list of criteria per position to see if guys are checking the boxes to get in, or it's just a popularity thing, or it's just like, as I said before, you know, when you be on the studio set and they introduce you as the Hall of Fame wide receiver or running back, or, you know, is that the criteria? You know, maybe, like I say, maybe Terry Holt need to go on NFL Network. And maybe because, you know, a lot of people don't understand, man, but, you know, why do you think, you know, a lot of, like, Shaq, I know we've on football, but Shaq right now is more popular now than he was as a player. He's got more endorsements now than he had when he played for the Lakers and won championships. And part of it is being on TNT. So when you see a Steve Smith on, you know, you can't undervalue exposure either, you know.
No.
You know, and who votes for the Hall of Fame? Well, these sports writers and all that who see the same face Steve Smith probably come on there 3 times a week.
Think about it. Think about also Randy Moss.
Yep.
Look at what Randy's image is versus what it was when he was playing. It does you're right. It does wonders for their career. Yeah. Randy Moss mended a lot of bridges, they said, when he went into media, because he had to work alongside those guys. And the opinion on him slowly started to turn. Yeah. Now, Randy is a beloved figure now.
Yeah. And I think when you on that television set, you know, NFL is the most popular professional sport of mankind. Yeah. So when you see the Steve Smiths on 3 times a week, and he's entertaining, he's sharing opinions, you know, they probably throw some tape up of his past best games and those kind of things. It weighs in on your conscience. But, you know, when you see Torrey Holt, you don't see highlights and he's not in your living room regularly. You know, he's not, you know, it seemed like all those great games that he had with the Rams is being forgotten, you know?
Yeah.
And that's, you know, maybe that's the thing you have to do when you're retired, so you can keep your name out in the forefront and people still talking about those great games that you did. So maybe the answer is that you have to be on television to maximize your exposure after you retire. And then the guys that are not on TV get forgotten, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. So they say rounding out the rest of the class. And that was a great point, Mr. Reid. This is a guy who I thought should have been in by now, Rondé Barber.
Yeah.
Rondé Barber. Zach Thomas looks like he's, they say, predicting him going in. And also Baselli. Hopefully this will be his year because they thought last year was the year and he got snubbed. The last 3 years or so, I mean, he seemed like he's been on the doorstep of it. Like he can almost taste it the last 3 years. So I think that now that I think this is the year that he's probably going to get in because regardless of whether you think he played long enough, you cannot deny his impact when he did play. Not to shame him because he didn't play that long, but if Terrell Davis is in the Hall of Fame, you got to put Tony Baselli in the Hall of Fame, man.
Yeah.
You got to put him in.
Yeah, and he did enough. You know, I mean, you look at the guy, the first draft pick ever of the franchise. They have no representation in the Hall of Fame. I just think it's long overdue, man.
Yeah, it is. So what do you think about Devin Hester being eligible? That's tough. That's tough, man. We talking about the greatest returner in the history of the league, man. And his impact is known. His impact is known. What he meant to the game. You have to tell, when you tell the story in the NFL, you have to talk about Devin Hester. You know, they always say that. Can you tell the story of that league without that player? You can't tell the story of the NFL without Devin Hester and his impact. Cultural icon, man. Yeah. So I don't know. First ballot though, I don't know, but I think he does deserve to go in.
I do too. I just think he was a great player, a great returner, and I think they even changed some rules because of Devin Hester when the line up from the. So I think a guy that has that much impact, you know, there's always going to be an audience that says that no special teams caliber player should be in the hall, not on the field enough, those kind of things. But man, this guy was a special talent, boy, and he had big games on big nights like Monday Night Football. He had some big games, you know.
Yeah. I'll never forget the Rams game. You remember him, the Rams game? He had I think 2 returns in the Rams game, and he was playing corner then. He wasn't playing wide receiver yet. And he played some good wide receiver from time to time with the Bears. But he was playing corner. I think it was his rookie year, and he had 2 returns against the Rams. One of them where they thought they were going to squib it, so they had their hands team out there, and he just ran past everybody. And then he had to cover Torrey Holt. Torrey Holt scored on him. He get back to the sideline. He's like, "Oh yeah, I scored. That was Devin Hester. I scored on." Next, on the kickoff, the Bears getting the ball back. Devin Hester runs it back for a touchdown. I said, "Yo, this kid ice cold, man. He's ice cold, man."
Hey man, when everybody in the stadium know you getting the ball and you still score on returns like that, that's a special player, man. There ain't no doubt about it.
Special player. Say a few other names they brought up: Patrick Willis, Jared Allen, Sam Mills, and Duval's own Leroy Butler.
Yeah,
why is Leroy Butler not in now? By now,
he should be in the hall, man. Sam Mills was a great player too, to be 5'10" linebacker too.
Yeah,
but there's no way in the world Leroy Butler should have been in the hall at least 3-4 years ago.
Yeah.
You know?
Man. Yeah, it's
what more can he do? I mean, the record speaks for itself.
Yeah.
You know?
It does. Yeah, man. It does, man. It does. So
all-decade team, and you make the all-decade team of the 90s. I mean, and you're on a team where he won the Super Bowl, and I mean, come on, man. What more does the guy need to do?
And you can argue that he was in the era of really great safety play.
Yeah.
Yeah. Not to saying that the safeties aren't you don't have good safeties today, because you have some good safeties, but you had iconic safeties back in the day, from Butler to Atwater to a lot of those guys, man. You don't have no Ed Reeds and Troy Polamalu's today. You got some good safeties, But you don't have those guys like that, like a Sean Taylor, who seemingly makes an impactful play in every single game.
Yeah.
There's games where the safeties today, I could watch a game and they'll never flash on the screen. You know,
Yeah.
they'll play a solid game, might not give nothing up, might not get beat, but they don't have the big hits, the turnovers, and just the splash plays that the safeties of old have had, man. But Leroy Butler was one of those guys.
And that was the era where they had great receivers too, man. I mean,
Yeah,
come
great,
on,
yeah,
man.
yeah.
Jerry Rice and Irvin, Michael Irvin. I mean,
Andre Reed, man. Oh
Andre
man, yeah.
Reed. They some great receivers in the '90s, man.
Yeah. Shoot, Torrey Holt. Torrey Holt's part of that, man.
Torrey
Isaac
Holt.
Bruce.
Yep,
Yeah.
Isaac Bruce. Yep.
Yeah, man. So you had some greats, man. You did. You had some greats.
Like I said, I just wish they come up with a criteria list. Okay, well, what does it take to get to the hall? I like to know. Give me 6 criterias, and not just sports writers who huddle up once a year and sit on a round table and just check off boxes, or they team up to say, okay, he's good enough to be in the hall, but not. Let's wait to seriously consider him in another 3 years. That type of stuff go on.
Yeah.
I mean, it does. It goes on. Like, they kind of look at the list and they judge guys on stuff that don't even need to be judged on. Well, one time in the locker room, he cussed me out or something.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
But what is your
That's
action?
why T.O. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
what
why
is your
T.O.
action?
Right. That's why T.O. didn't get in first ballot, because of his relationship with the media. And the only reason that Randy went in when he did is because of his work in the media and him changing the narrative on how he was perceived. If T.O. had done that, it would have been a different thing. But like you say, being on TV, just like Steve Smith, it changes things, man. It changes things for him.
Changes the perception. He's in the audience eye all the time, and some of these players that go on TV, they actually bigger as a TV star than they were as a player.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah, man. So yeah, man. Let's gonna transition. We're gonna go into this NBA free agency.
Yeah.
I think some teams done got better, man. I like what the Bulls did. Zach LaVine, Lonzo Ball, DeMar DeRozan, the Heat, PJ Tucker, and who they pick up? Kyle Lowry. They're picking up PJ Tucker and Kyle Lowry. Of course, the Lakers have been the headline, man. Who don't they have? They got everybody signing up for the Lakers now.
Yeah, they got
Carmelo, to Dwight, to Ariza.
The old man game.
Yeah. But then they re-signed Taylor Horton Tucker. They let Caruso get away. I like the Caruso. I thought they would have brought back Caruso. But Taylor Horton Tucker re-signed with them. They got Malik Monk. He's 22, young guy. I think he shoots. I think they say 40% from 3. So you got another young guy. And dude, I think the Lakers. All of this is for not what you get. Of course, you got Russell Westbrook, of course, but none of this matters if Anthony Davis isn't healthy. If Anthony Davis is healthy, and I know he doesn't like to do it. You said it on the show before. He doesn't like to do it, but Anthony Davis is healthy, and in certain stretches, he has to play the 5. He has to play center. If he does that and he's healthy, they're unstoppable.
And he's got to be assertive all the time, man. I always say that's about AD, man. AD got to stop the furring. He's got to, I understand why everybody treat LeBron like he's a god. He deserves that respect, but man, there's so much more that Anthony Davis can do for the Lakers, and it just seems like he rather fit in than dominate. And it just, to be honest, the torch is being passed right in front of us. LeBron literally is passing that torch to AD. AD said, "No, I'm not ready to take the torch yet." But in reality, he is. He should take the torch and carry that team on his back so LeBron can extend his career where he don't have to do everything, But
Yeah.
I like Carmelo on that team. I mean, Carmelo, Carmelo. I never thought that Carmelo would stick it out in Portland as long as he did.
Yeah.
I never thought that would work out. But now he's in LA, you know what you're gonna get from Carmelo. He's gonna spot up, shoot.
Mm-hmm.
He's gonna embrace his role. He's gonna be a backup to come in and score. So, I thought they did a good job of addressing their needs and trying to get a little bit more outside scoring. That was the problem, not getting enough outside scoring.
Yeah.
And but that West is gonna be a beast, man.
Yeah. Yeah. It is. It is. It definitely is. I was looking to. Let's see. I saw. Was Kimball Walker is going to sign with the Knicks. I saw that today. I know they locked down Julius Randle. Man, Julius Randle, he had a season that him and I think only Larry Bird has ever had. I think 20, 10, and 5 on 40% shooting from three. Only Larry Bird has ever done that, and now Julius Randle. I mean, Julius' career turnaround is amazing to me.
Let me ask you this, Brandon. What did our backyard team do? They ain't signed any free agent.
Man, I don't know.
The Magic, they didn't. I mean,
I haven't heard a word. I haven't heard anything about
that's
the
the problem with the Magic. That's why it's hard. I mean, I love the NBA, but I can't make the drive from Jacksonville to Orlando and barely know the players on the roster.
Yeah.
They got to get some players that people know, man, that can, they got to get some big names down there, man. Got a nice arena. They got a whole bunch of young cats, no big name stars. They got to be aggressive like the Heat, man. They got to spend some money.
Yeah. The Celtics too. They were supposedly in talks with PJ Tucker, but they tried to be lowballing. And he hit him with the I'm out of here. I got my chip, man. I'm looking for a little cash and to join a good team, but he wanted some money. And they lost out on him.
2-year, $15 million deal with the Heat, man.
Yeah. Oh, Drummond to the 76ers. I think that's a good pickup for the 76ers. But do you hear what happened with Ben Simmons?
What happened?
So Ben they say Ben has cut contact with everybody in the Sixers organization, from the coaches to the GM to the players. And then people going at him talking about, oh, he's a diva, oh, he's this, oh, he's that. Hold on. Y'all been making jokes about this man for I don't know how long. They've been the rumors of him being traded has been floated around for months now. And supposedly they offered a deal to Golden State that was just absolutely egregious. And they wanted like 2 firsts, Wiggins, and like James Wiseman for Ben Simmons. Craziness, man. Like that's what the 76ers offered. And I don't blame Ben Simmons. Like, y'all want me out of here? Okay, well, I'm about to be out there.
He done cut all contact. I wonder is he working on a jump shot?
He better be. He better be working on his jump shot, man.
I always used to know, well, I remember this guy was at LSU and it used to be all this hype. Yeah, they got Ben Simmons, from he was from Australia. They got this star player. LSU gonna be put on the map. Then you go watch Ben, man. Ben play Kentucky and score like 9 points. On national TV now. Come on, man. I say, man, this guy ain't as good as what people say. Like, come on, man. You on national TV against Kentucky and get 9 points and you the biggest guy on the team?
Biggest guy.
And then he went to Philly. I remember the first summer league game. He basically forced himself to be the point guard on the summer league team.
Crazy.
I'm not a Ben Simmons fan, man. I don't like a guy who don't improve his game. It's unacceptable for Ben to be in the league this long and hadn't added a jump shot.
Yeah.
I mean, it's unacceptable.
Yeah. Also, I saw. Let's see. What was the other one? Oh, Dennis Schroeder. So I don't know what's going on with him, man.
He's unsigned, huh?
He's unsigned, man. They say his market has dried up. Yeah.
Oh man, but what he got to take the veteran minimum?
I don't know, but that $84 million extension that he got with the Lakers, I'm guessing he's not getting that nowhere else. Or he's not getting more than that.
Well,
And
I heard
I think he was looking to get more.
I heard he was linked to the Spurs, but he may not want to pay for Pop. He may not want to be. He may not be want to play for Popovich, man. But I heard he was linked to them. I don't know if he's gonna get like his desired money. But hey, when you wait late, you don't get the money, man. Yeah. All the major deals go quick in the NBA free agency. Once the second week comes.
Yeah. And then the Lakers, they interested in bringing back Danny Green. I say, dog, they bringing everybody back, man.
Yeah, the old man gang. The old man gang gonna win one last time for LeBron, man. I can dig it, man.
I can dig it. I just hope that this Lakers team is not like the that Lakers team who they put together Gary Payton and Karl Malone and all of them.
Oh, don't mention that. Yeah. Karl Malone, Gary Payton. What did they get? How far they got that year?
Oh, they went to the I think they went to the finals, but they lost. They lost in 5 to Detroit, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, that's the one. Yeah.
Yep. Oh yeah.
Shaq. So Shaq was still on that team then.
Yeah, Shaq was on that team. Yeah, Rick Fox, Derek Fisher, all of them. Yeah. They were on those teams.
Yeah, they got beat bad. Even though they lost in 5, that series was nowhere close.
Yeah,
I remember that 2004.
Yeah. So, man, we're gonna finish up and talk a little bit about Mr. Evander Kane. He plays for in National Hockey League for the Sharks. And Mr. Kane, plays for the San Jose Sharks. And Mr. Kane right now is under investigation because his wife had aired him out on social media. She said that he's been tricking off his money with women in Europe on yachts and boats, and he's broke, and he didn't even leave money for his daughter to have formula. She's currently pregnant with their son, I think, or something like that. And but those are penny anythings compared to what really got him in hot water. She said that he has been betting on his own games and has been throwing games in the process of betting on said games. And like you said when we was on the phone, she said some buzzwords, and that it got everything stirred up. So now he's under a full investigation. And I saw where a lot of his teammates don't want him back on the team. They want the Sharks to go ahead and ship him out, cut him or trade him or whatever. But man, it's not looking good for Evander Kane. They say he's made $52 million in his career, and now he's broke.
Man, where do we start with this? That's
Oh, and not to mention, also she said that the reason he's been betting on his games, trying to get this money back up, he's in deep with loan sharks.
With loan sharks.
Mm-hmm.
But the first thing is this: $52 million, and he got zero. What he couldn't. I wrote some of the things that so you don't have enough money to buy baby formula, right? Is that what she said?
Yeah.
But he's made $52 million in his career. That tells you there's something ain't right there. $52 million, and he didn't invest it in anything. So that's the first mistake. And anytime, that's like the wife. So he's fighting Mike Tyson. His wife is Mike Tyson because she just hit him with a body punch about the betting.
She did.
She
did.
Because when that come out, they almost have to investigate that.
They have to.
And then even if they found guilty, he's always going to be a suspect of it. So.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, man. I think he's in I think he's in trouble. That's what I think.
Yeah, he is. And I was listening to a guy, and he brought up a great point. I think it was O'Shea Duke Jackson. He brought up a great point, basically saying how the wife, even though she's mad right now, that's why she's doing all this. She's mad because he's been, you say, dealing with other women and all of that, and gallivanting in Europe, with other chicks on yachts and blowing money on side chicks and all of that stuff. But they said that this hurts her as well.
Yeah.
This hurts her as well. Yeah, it stops his money. And so whatever she was going to be entitled to once she left him, that's done now.
Yeah. Yeah, she has a blank check security. So whenever he gets some money, most of it be going to her.
Yeah, pretty much.
But I guess the moral of the story, man, is that this guy, of all the things, 52. So he's a pretty good NHL player. Yeah. Just to even put himself in this position is just bad luck on, it ain't even bad luck. It just, I mean, I think a guy in this case just hadn't handled his business. He hadn't handled his business from home. He hadn't handled his financial business. And, he's basically got himself into this trouble here, man.
Yeah.
So I think it's a matter of, whether those allegations are true or not, man. It's just, I don't know. It just seemed like he hadn't handled his personal business, financial business, and it's all done came to this ugliness right now.
It's because he's sloppy.
Yeah,
he's incredibly sloppy. Because not only, and I was just reading up on one of the articles, and he said his mistress, of course, his wife trashed his mistress. I think it's Mara Teagan, and she posted pictures of them together. And I'm like, and he's supposedly saying he's single. And I'm like, that's not the look you want right now, man.
Yeah.
If I'm telling you, if you a man and you're in some hot water, you in some deep trouble, and you have a wife and a family, having the father husband image is the best thing for you at that time. Yeah. Because if you're going to have any leniency, they're going to have some because you are a father and a husband, a committed father and husband. But if you're a philanderer who's spending your money on chicks and you photo with other women, your mistress and stuff, people are not going to have any sympathy for you. The court of public opinion, you are already done at that point. Yeah. It's optics for a lot. There's optics right now, man. And he's not looking good.
It seems like he's done quit on his family.
Yeah.
And it just seems like, okay, you want to take a picture? Yeah, that's fine. And it seemed like he didn't have any care if that picture got back home or anything. So, and I think, when it gets to that point, and she going to look for the hit him with the knockout punch. And
man,
she may have got with the right lawyer. And it might be a knockout punch that he'd be knocked out for the rest of his career. So just sloppy, as you say. I think that's the best word to describe it. Sloppy, no caring. Doesn't care about if it got back or not. So he should have probably went on and got a divorce and then try to get back to be single instead of trying to be single married at the same time.
Yeah.
That's a mistake.
Yeah. Because this is probably going to end it for him because this knockout blow, she brought that thing from Alabama all the way up to Michigan. I mean, she boom, and it's over for him now, man.
Yeah, that's a Mike Tyson punch.
Man, that's one of the ones where you see the sweat fly into the crowd.
That's a bite the ear punch.
Dude. Yeah, man. So it is what it is, man. But he said he's denying all allegations and he's going to cooperate with the NHL in their investigation. I mean, he has no other choice at this point. And they say he's a good player because they said if he has to leave the team, he's going to leave a void and they're going to have to scramble to replace him. So he's still a good player. and he still got he's only 30 years old, and I don't know the average length or how long NHL players play, but I know they play well into their 30s. So he's taken probably 5 to 7 years off of his career, off of just being sloppy, man. Sloppy.
Probably keep him out the league forever. So
yeah,
that'd be one to keep an eye on and see how that develops, though, boy. That's like
oh yeah, yeah, oh yeah, yeah. Oh yeah.
He might be on one of those VH1 reality shows. That might be his next career.
Hey, while you playing, man, he better be careful because the way she sounded and the way she went off, he might end up on Snap or Force 48 or what's that? The For My Man.
Yeah.
Hey, he better watch it. He better watch it out because usually when things like this happen, she's doing all of that, and all he got to do is say, "Okay, you the mother of my kids. You know, I want to make it work with you," and she gonna let him right back in the house, and they'll be right back together. And number one, he be a fool because then she gonna put poison in your food or something to you. She gonna do something to it, man. I don't understand that. I don't understand guys who do women wrong and then want to go make up and then want to live and sleep in the same house as them. I was like, dude, you better sleep with one eye open.
Yeah, they ask for forgiveness, man. Like, the bygone be bygone. But yeah, I agree with you, boy. I be cooking my own food on my George Foreman's fryer.
Yeah.
I'll be buying my eggs from Waffle House, not having her cook it.
Yeah, I'll do it. I couldn't do it, man. I could not do it. He crazy. But hey, it is what it is, man. But I think that's it. I think we covered
$2 million, man, and he's zero. That's the story for me. How in the world you lose 50? You don't have nothing to show for 52 million.
52 million. So this is what I'm hoping. What I'm hoping is that all she sees is zeros, and he done stash somewhere in some Swiss bank accounts or something. Because it's no way that he's down. He's broke. He shouldn't be broke after the career that he's had.
Yeah, he's got it in some of those islands in the Cayman Islands.
Yeah. Yeah, that's what I remember. I first heard about the offshore accounts in the Cayman Islands when Fred Taylor was talking about it and how his first agent had stolen $9 million from him and had it in offshore accounts in the Cayman Islands.
Woo, boy, that's rough.
Yeah. And I didn't know how common that was, man. Kevin Garnett just talked about I seen him talking about it. Agent took 15 mil from him.
15 million?
15 million, man. They be robbing these kids, man. And these kids, they're kids. They're kids. Mm-hmm. They 22, 23, 24, 25. They're kids, man. Oh, yeah.
Hey, just remember the Alabama quarterback who hadn't played a down yet, he's got $1 million deal.
Oh, man. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. You can't forget that. Not to mention also a high school quarterback who's going to leave high school and forego his senior year to go to Ohio State is getting ready to sign a 7-figure deal as well.
Crazy. Wait a minute, he gonna leave high school to go to Ohio State so he can sign an NIL or whatever it is.
Yeah, the NIL deal. Yeah,
no,
he's gonna leave. Mercy. Yeah.
So we now have that if you're a great player in college, you don't play in the bowl game, so you can get ready for the NFL draft. So now you're a high school senior, you don't play your high school senior year to enroll early in college so you can get paid. Okay.
Yep. That's where we at.
Boy, I'm about done with sports, man.
Yep. That's where we are, man. That's where we are. Matter of fact, I want to do a stream on that, and I don't know, maybe we could do it, talk about it a little bit next week and how sports is as a whole is starting to die. It's little by little. It's very subtle. A lot of people can't see it, but it's showing up. Rating, like they say the Tokyo Olympics, they calling it the Wokio Olympics. Yeah. They say ratings are in the toilet. Yeah. NBA ratings have dropped steadily for the last 2 seasons. I know they had a significant drop Yeah, the last 2 to 3 years. NFL ratings have dropped the last 2 years. Baseball, same thing. Everybody has took a hit as far as ratings in sports, and we talked about it. Part of it too is politics. The
There's too much
politics.
politics and too expensive, man. It's just,
Yeah,
they even making baseball used to be you could take your family for family of four and get some nice seats and spend under $60.
yeah,
Now you can't even go see the Rays or any, the worst stadium in the league, and you pulling out $150. It's just,
yeah,
it's just, the contracts or whatever it might be, but they basically like outpricing their product, you know.
yeah,
And some
yeah. They
people
are.
just, why even get involved with it if all these guys are doing is crying about money? They got problems this and problems that.
Yep.
Nobody feel like they playing for the love of the game. Everything for the negative. A lot of negative things are being overexposed, and
Mm-hmm.
sports got a lot of problems, man. It's just I think a lot of the athletes just don't have a connection anymore with their own fans.
Mm-hmm.
They don't connect with them. The fans can't relate to them.
Yeah.
You can't. I can a fan who work 8 hours a day making what they're making, and some guy crying about he should get paid more or something. It's just I I can't conceive. I mean, sometimes I just can't. It's almost like monopoly money, man. It's like, okay, Chris Paul turned down a contract for $44 million to get one that's 140.
Yeah.
I remember when AD was supposed to sign this max deal contract, even in New Orleans. It's like $225 million.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I mean, hey, I understand they got great talent. I understand all that, but $225 million.
Yeah. It's crazy too. And you got players like Rudy Gobert making the max, and I'm like, Rudy
Yeah,
Gobert
yeah,
makes the max.
makes the max. It just, I don't know, man. It just seems like that's just an ugly taste for a fan, and then guys moaning and whatever else,
Ryan. Oh,
crying,
no,
and they just like they
don't get me started on that.
like they're not even in the real world. It's like, come on, man, you got
Mm-hmm.
a reason to complain.
Mm-hmm.
Even like Ben Simmons. I mean, come on, man. Ben Simmons, no matter
Yeah.
where Ben Simmons go, if Philly traded him to Utah, he's still gonna make that money.
Yeah. He's still gonna get paid. Yeah. He's still
So
gonna get paid, man. So yeah, they gotta pay him. Shoot, I'm gonna do a stream. I don't know when I'm gonna do it, but I got to talk about the NCAA investigation as well into the gender inequalities between men and women's basketball. I saw that report came out. They had a lawyer firm do basically a 5-month investigation about it, and they found all the differences between the two. But the one thing that when I read the article that they don't mention is that women's basketball is a money loser. They lose
yeah,
money. Their
yeah.
basketball tournament, their March Madness tournament loses money every year. That's what happens. So they want the same thing the men get, and they want to be included with the men, play where the men play on their site and everything. Number one, I don't think that's a good idea, because if you want to grow your game, you're going to play in the shadow. You play in the shadow of the men anyway. So
Mhm.
if you try to merge the ladies, their March Madness tournament with the men's and play in the same place, the men are going to overshadow you even more. I mean,
Mhm.
I've been to games. I've been to high school games where when the girls are playing, they had a thing where the boys, I think the boys played at a certain time, girls played a certain time. So the girls will play first. No, the boys they had the girls will play first and the boys will play. And so the parents complained and said, "Well, you guys," because there wasn't no fans at the girls' games. Only the most fans was the boys' basketball players before they game. And so
Mhm.
they would complain. They said, "Well, they instead of them playing at 7, how about the girls play at 6?" I said, "Okay, we'll have the boys play first and the girls play last. So they had the boys play, it's packed in there, boys playing. So, soon as the last dribble of the boys basketball game stop, it clears out, girls play in an empty arena. I mean, it's just, it is what it is.
Yeah. I don't know what to say on that, man. You know,
it's rough. It's rough. Yeah.
You know, I'll say this. I covered the girls basketball tournament in Lakeland. And I saw that Bishop Kenny team. I saw Raines play. And, the next following week, the boys tournament was at the same venue. Mm-hmm. And it's like the boys had the atmosphere. The girls teams didn't have that. They had, some of those teams had some decent fan crowds and things, but right. It's still a difference between the boys tournament and the girls tournament, man. And it's just,
yeah,
it is what it is.
Yeah, it is what it is. And that's one thing that when you hear them, and that's another thing, women don't care about sports in general. And right. So if you could just get 10% of women to get interested in women's sports take off. The WNBA, they make the salaries they want to make. The ladies soccer team, same thing, but it's hard to get women to pay attention to you because you crying because you don't make what the men make, but you're making an average of $100,000 a year, something that most women are never going to see in their lifetime. Less than 6% of women ever make $100,000 a year. And hey, they trying to feed their family and work. They're not worried about your calls and you trying to make more money.
Yeah,
I don't think they really get that.
Yeah, a lot of some other things. You got to market the game more. You got to spend money on marketing. You gotta market your game around the younger kids so the younger kid can grow into becoming fans of the sport. I don't think the WNBA, I don't think they do a great job of marketing. The Sparks or teams like that do, but the other teams in that league, they don't do a great job of marketing to a potential target. If you target your sport to say 8-year-old girls, 9-year-old girls, and get them into that, well, they're going to ask mama or daddy to take them to the game. And you got to have a starting point. In order to be a great sports fan, man, you have to be generational. It has to be generations over a period of time to create. No matter what, you got a loyal fan base of 3 generations, from the grandma, the mother, and the daughter. And it takes time. I don't think the WNBA has been around long enough to establish that type of connection yet. But you have to, you have to start. You have to get to the starting point. And I don't think they know what the audience is. They don't connect to the audience. They just say, "Here's our game. Take it or leave it. Take it." But they don't market on a certain audience. I think if they market that game around girls in elementary school and even do more for the girls sports in general, put that type of message on the commercials and things, and you'd be amazed if they feel that the NBA is a connection to girls sports, how wide it would make their audience grow. But they don't,
Yeah.
The people who run the WNBA is the NBA. The NBA got their own issue, but that's, you have to market to increase your audience. And I don't think they've done a great job of that. And I don't think they market their players enough either.
And that's what I was going to go into. Lack of star power.
Yeah.
Stars. You need stars. All the WNBA needs is if they can get their hands on the female version of LeBron James or Michael Jordan, it'll do wonders for your game. All you really need is one dominant player to really start it out. That's all you need. One dominant player to really, really start it out. But it's hard to get people. You can't make people interested in something they're not interested in. Like take for instance, Reebok High School here in Jacksonville, Florida. Reebok High School has one of the best girls basketball programs in the country, not in the state, in the country. They just had Renaya Davis, 9th overall in the WNBA draft. She came out of Reebok, and they've had many players go play Division I basketball, and a few go to the WNBA. Great program. They don't draw like the boys do at that same school, and the boys are awful.
Well, I'm a Reebok graduate, so don't talk about my school, bro.
Hey, the boys terrible, man. Hot garbage. The boys been hot garbage, man. Hey, I think 20.
Who the coach? Who the coach over there now?
I don't know. I don't know.
That might be the problem. It used to be Charles Showers. He ain't there no more.
I don't know. I gotta look it up. Off the top of my head, I don't know.
But I would say this, Brandon, being a graduate of that great Reebok High School, even when Al Austin had probably the greatest teams in the school history, they still didn't outdraw the boys.
Yeah.
Even in the early 80s, when they had Carletta Davis, they still couldn't outdraw the boys in basketball. And they did what you said. They would play the girls. The girls would play first, and then the boys would play. And out of all those state championships, even when the Reebok boys didn't get to the state championship or win a state championship, the boys outdrew the girls.
Yeah.
Man, I could talk about basketball all day. I the biggest shock I had coming back to Jacksonville. I've never thought that boys basketball in Jacksonville on the north side would go from what it used to be in the 80s to what it is now. The programs back in the 80s, back in the 80s, when Reigns and Reebok played basketball, or Reigns played Jackson, they had that Northwest tournament, basketball tournament, it would come on the radio. And it would be like they would have to close the door because they couldn't put any more people in there. And when I come back here, like I've covered a couple of times with Jackson. So Jackson still managed to carry on that tradition of winning. But even at Jackson, they don't pack the house at Jackson.
No.
And I'm like trying to find out, like, man, when did basketball in Jacksonville, the boys just done went to literally nothing. Man, when Jackson, it was Jackson, Forest, had great teams. Reebok, whenever Reebok played Forest, Jackson, it was a full house. They used to have a Northwest tournament at Reebok on Christmas tournament. Couldn't get in there if you didn't get there 2 hours before tip off, you wouldn't be able to get in.
Well,
and now,
I think what's effectively killed a lot of that. Number one, private schools have come in and swooped up all the talent. That's private schools run it from football to basketball to baseball, University Christian, Trinity, and all those schools, Bishop Kenny, Episcopal, Bishop Snyder. The private schools come in and they get the talent. And that's what they do. They take the talent right off the top. And also AAU. AAU has killed it too.
Man, I tell you what, Forrest had Otis Smith. Reebok had Paris Drain. I forget. Like Reigns had two great players. But even when I was a kid, like Reigns and Reebok, even in the late 70s, when they had AC Sanders and people like that, it would be a packed house. Clifford Johnson. I'm just rattling off names when I was a kid, but those guys, man, even back then, like 1978, 79, you couldn't, if you didn't get to the game early, you couldn't get in the gym. And now it's like, Reebok, I don't know what that happened to Reebok boys program, but definitely it ain't what it used to be. Reigns a little better, but man, that's like one of the biggest shocks I ever had coming back home. I like, Jesus Christ, man. What, like basketball don't even matter no more in Jacksonville, man. Yeah. And football was, even back then, now football was king then too. Yeah. But when basketball season came, it was just like karaoke, football over, now it's basketball. The rivalry just went from football to basketball. Like Reebok could never beat Reigns in football, but they could beat them in basketball back then. You know, but now, shit, man, I don't even think Reebok make the boys play. When I saw Reebok losing to Wolfson and Terry Parker, I said, Lord have mercy.
Yeah, that was it. That when I saw stuff like that, yeah, that was it, man.
And we need another Bernard Wilkes at Reebok.
Man. Yeah, you're right, man.
Starts with the coaching, man. You gotta have good coaching to start a program, girls or boys. Yeah. And I covered 2 years ago. Reebok went to Bishop Kenny, and Reebok lost to Bishop Kenny. Man, I said, "Oh Lord, this is the girls."
Yeah.
I say, "Look, it ain't the same no more."
No, it's not, man. No, it is not the same, man.
Gone is them 62-21 victories, man.
Yeah, it's a new day, man. It's a new day. Like you say, but football is still king. Football is still king. But man, I appreciate y'all for tuning in, man. We went a little longer today, but man, this especially the Jaguar segment, that was the one right there, man. That we got some great information on that. So I know on the replay, people gonna look back at it, and the Jaguar information for sure, man. But hey, I think this was a good stream. I had much fun today. Please make sure y'all like, share, and subscribe. You see all my stuff on the bottom down here. Subscribe to all my YouTube and all my social media. Subscribe to Mr. Reid on Twitter, Jacksonville.com, Florida Times Union. I appreciate y'all for rocking with me. And we are out of here.
Enjoy Peace that out. Barbershop time.
Yes, sir.